Salud, hermano.
Welcome back.
First episode of 2022 and first episode since, I don't know when, how long since we did
I don't even know
episode.
if we came back and did one in 2021 because we shot like a couple before Chrissy in 2020.
Oh, shit.
So we might have just skipped a whole year.
Just a tiny break. Did we actually? Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. 2021 was shit anyway, so...
Yeah, so
what's
it
the
doesn't,
point? It doesn't count.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Roll the intro music. Do we actually have an intro music? I even forgot. Yes, we do.
I have no idea what it is.
Yes. Oh, it's actually a video you made. Yeah, of course.
I don't know what the music is. I remember the video.
Yeah.
It's just us looking awesome.
Anyways, roll that thing that we do have. I'm gonna be honest, I completely forgot how do we start the podcast. And also, I always get mad at you because you don't remember.
You don't remember now.
Yeah, so now I'm mad at me as well.
It went something like, welcome back to the Good Vibes Theory. And that's about as much as I remember.
Well, let me give you a little try. How's the good vibe, people? Welcome to another episode of the Good Vibes Theory. If you're new here, my name is Nelson.
And my name's Matty.
And we're here to share the good vibes with the world.
By inspiring and educating people one person at a time.
That was actually pretty good.
It's not right, but it sounded okay.
but it sounded okay. I'll give you a fist bump. Matty boy, first, let's address the big elephant in the room. Why did we stop the podcast?
Good question. So at the time, my work was getting super hectic because we had like a whole new product release. It was sort of a product we were working on for like 2.5 years. And, you know, within like the 6 months of it actually being released, that's when marketing starts. So I pretty much just got to the stage where I was working round the clock and it's like, I can't do this fun stuff if I'm taken away from what I'm getting paid to do pretty much. So I just put it off and off and off. And we actually shot some. I'm pretty sure we shot some that never got released.
Shot, I think, 2 episodes that they will be super outdated. I don't even know what we talked about.
Probably Jake Paul.
Jake Paul.
Still relevant.
Yeah, which is still relevant after over a year, yeah.
But yeah, it pretty much we shot them and then I needed to edit them. And I'm like, I'm editing all this other stuff. There's literally, I can't be like, I'm going to sit down for 2 hours and try and edit this thing right now. So that's pretty much what it was. Other commitments, stuff that paid the bills. Now,
what made you text me yesterday to schedule getting back into the podcast? Because I was surprised. I've been like, you asked me when I was shooting, I told you I'm ready whenever you're ready. So what made you decide like, oh, okay, let's get this thing running again?
Yeah, well, man, it's fun. Like I love doing it. It was super like a great experience from the start. And I sort of like this one because we talk mad shit. We can talk about any topic we want. Yeah. Like I'm doing one at work now and it's electric skateboards. It's boring,
very niche. Right? Yeah.
You're limited in what you can talk about. So there's so many
And you
things.
can talk shit about your boss there. And here you can.
Here I can say whatever I want. Not so much about the boss, but there's other people I want to lay some heavy shit on.
Yeah, yeah, feel free to do so.
We can get there. Yeah, and then obviously work's like we're still super busy, but it's not the same as it was when you're trying to launch a product. I feel like I'm just trying to be like more creative in what I'm doing at work, and you need to take some sort of break to do that as well. So doing a bit of stuff for myself, and then it's easier now, this stuff. We got the podcaster, which just like gear-wise, it's going to make it a little bit easier. I think we're going to chill out on all the stories and feed posts and stuff. Let's just get it on YouTube.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think it'll be easy.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking right now. We haven't really talked much about it. We just decided, okay, let's do it. As you can tell, we haven't put much thought as well into all the things that you can see in here. But the plan looks good, eh?
It's aesthetically quite nice. It's very, and the sort of light wooden table. It's making me feel, what's the word, boho?
Yeah,
boho.
Yeah.
This should be white not plasterboard. What's that? you know, the timber paneling,
the timber panel.
VJ paneling.
Yes, we should have that.
If we had that, and then maybe just like a bit more greenery would be boho as.
It's actually a bit unfortunate. If you're watching this on YouTube, behind this black background, there is actually one of the most beautiful beaches in Coolangatta area, Kira, which is where I'm living right now because...
Well, okay.
Yeah, so fast forward.
So pretty much by the time that product got released, it wasn't long after that we pretty much changed the demographic of... Demographic?
Demographic? No,
Not
that's
demographic.
the audience.
Dynamic. The dynamic of us.
Yeah.
The dynamic of you and I.
Yeah.
And Nelson moved out to the beach.
Well, you actually kicked me
I
out
kicked
of
you
the
out.
hou-
You
of
had
the
to
house.
You had to leave.
He was like,
What does a
you
mum-
need to get the fuck out of here.
What does a mama bird do?
Yeah, you kick your kid out on the world.
Spread your wings. But tell us about what you've been doing in the last 6 months.
Yeah, so back then, Matty got really busy. I was still living with him, working. One day, they just needed the space back, which was pretty much what we talked when I first moved in. Like, we didn't know how long I would be able to stay there, which happened to be almost a year, which was one of the best years of my life. I already told you that. That was awesome living with you, Beck, and the doggies. Then I moved out to the place that I'm living now, which is in Kira. Is honestly the dream location. We're literally meters away from the beach and one of the best surfing spots as well. We still live pretty close. We're like, 10 minutes
10
away?
to 15 minutes away.
Yeah, so we're still like neighbors.
Not a good enough excuse to not do a podcast for a year.
Exactly. It's not like we can't really do it. We just need to make the time for it. But I think moving forward, we're just going to make it with the less friction we can so we can actually do it. For example, today we're planning on shooting 2 small episodes so we can create the momentum and keep the ball rolling. And yeah, just background on stuff. I guess we'll try to keep it simple and yeah.
We can do whatever we want with it. We don't have to stick to every Thursday night. Like,
oh yeah,
who cares
like,
at this stage? We'll just get it shot, and we hit the 10. Like we always said, we were going to do 10 and then get guests on.
You remember when I told you, like it takes 9 out of 10 podcasts will not make it to the 10 episode. We smashed the 10 episode and then we stopped.
But we were just getting our legs in. I felt like I'd sort of warmed up, and but yeah, 10 and it ended. So we broke stereotypes and we've come back now.
Yeah.
And the guest thing. So I think we're pretty much good to do that. So
I'm actually super excited about that. I think we both have already enough practice doing podcasting so we can start bringing on people. This will be the place where someone can see it.
we'll put next up. I think we got to get Patch down.
Yes, that will be actually our first guest. Hopefully, crossing our fingers, we have a friend from the UK, Patch. Patch is actually
He's
South
a
African
Australian,
but he lives in the UK.
That's currently back in Australia.
Yes, so we're gonna try to make that happen. Have you talked to him, by the way? Yes, sweet.
Not about this, but I've spoken to him about pretty much anything you mention. He's so keen to do.
Yeah, he is
so
one of
motivated.
the loveliest humans ever. I can't wait for you guys to hear a little bit about him. The past year, overall, can you give us a summary of your life, since we don't know what happened to you and people don't know what happened to me? So a bit of a summary.
Look, I didn't do anything like overly crazy last year. Like everything sort of continued as it was. I think when I ended this, I'd just gotten the second puppy.
Yes,
So
yes, you did.
Now I got 2 pretty much full-grown dogs. Beck, my lovely wife, my beautiful house. That's all the same. I'm still doing the same thing for work. I think we've hired more, or we have hired more people like sort of working under me to help change what I'm doing. And then just when the restrictions eased up, I started getting back into the travel and that sort of stuff. But I wouldn't say there's been any major shifts, not like you moving to the beach and stuff.
Yeah.
I refreshed all my gear, which was nice.
Yeah, you are Matty 2.0.
I think we should have a gear talk because like you've done a lot, I've done a lot. Like,
Yeah. We have completely different camera backs now, essentially.
completely different, but exactly the same main camera.
Yeah, like same brands and stuff, but everything has been upgraded.
Guess what I did on a Friday night?
Friday night, do you do some cocaine?
No, it went the other way with the money not being as expensive.
Okay.
I sold the red. Yeah.
Finally. How much did you get for it?
I got 9,000.
9,000 and you were selling it for...
I wanted to get 13 for it.
Yeah.
And it probably was for the right person, but it was getting a bit old.
Yeah, it was a bit too old.
It's a bit too old. It was a first generation. It's the same one they shot Lord of the Rings on. So, I mean, that's the quality you can pull out of it, but it's just old now.
Yeah, it's a bit too old.
So it's a tricky one to sell, but finally got it done.
For the people that don't know, a red camera is one of the best cinema cameras that you can get. And yeah, so that camera, when it first came out, was what, like...
Oh, it was $60,000.
$60,000, something like that.
Yeah, ridiculous. But then in that, I did a trip recently where I traveled around just shooting fast content. And you can move a lot faster with a smaller, more nimble setup, which is what my whole new kit was designed to do. And the content I got was awesome. Like, you couldn't tell that it wasn't on a red. Like, it looks just as good. But the amount of coverage I was able to get, just because everything was in focus and everything was stabilized and everything was just so much easier to use.
Yeah, it just makes your life and the workflow so much easier.
Yeah, it's so much faster using like good technology. So
what can you give some of the stuff that you invested in? What are some of the pieces of gear?
Well, I pretty much started from scratch from a kit. I did one order with Digital Camera Warehouse, and I bought a Sony A7S III for video, a Sony A7R IV for photo. I bought 16 to 35 2.8 G Master, 24 to 70 2.8 G Master, and then I kept a 70 to 200 mil Canon 2.8, the L series, because I have a Metabones, so that'll get me out of trouble. So I have the full spectrum. I still got a like 85 prime, another 16 to 35, and then Video Mic Pro. I bought the Rode Go wireless lapel. Bought a new drone, got the new Mavic.
The Mavic 3, right?
Mavic 3.
Yeah.
I bought the new Ronin, like the RS. Bought like everything, new bag, new memory cards. Yeah, I'm just trying to look at my bag and think what's in there now. But pretty much everything. It was about 20 grand for the full setup.
And yeah, I remember the camera store was really grateful for you investing 20 grand and they sent you a little bonus thing. What was it?
They gave me a thank you note to start with, which was hi,
handwritten.
Yeah. But it was hi, thanks for your order. That was it. And thanks for this order. Please accept this gift. The fact that you say please accept this gift, don't you assume it's going to be something okay?
Yeah.
What could a camera store give you? Extra SD card, battery, I don't know.
We're talking about 20 grand.
$20,000.
Yes.
They gave me a lanyard. Like, I would 100% rather you didn't give me that. The thing's worth, it's not even worth 5 cents. If they bought 10,000 of them, it wouldn't have even been, it would be cents.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, this is...
I'm just trying, when you told me that, I was just trying to picture the guys at the camera store being like, hey, boss, we have this guy, Matty. He seems like he's really cool. He just spent 20 grand on our store. I think we should give him something. And then the boss be like, yeah, you're right, kid. Let me just think. What can we get him if he spent 20 grand? Let's just give him a lanyard because I'm sure he's losing his keys. That's it, boss.
I do lose my keys, but I think they could have done better. Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah,
that's enough of that. So that's my gear, and then drones. I got the Rodecaster for the podcast at work, and I got a Skydio drone as well.
Oh yeah, how's that?
I took it for its first flight today. I'm super slack. The guys sent it to me to do footage and stuff with, and I just I didn't get the opportunity to use it because it's quite technical to use. And I put it up for the first time today. it's insane.
Yeah, do you like it better than DJI?
It's so different. Like the only reason you use it is because it flies itself. It's got 6 4K cameras on it, pointing in all directions, and it creates a 3D model of the world. And then the follow me function on the DJI, like you look at yourself and you draw a circle around yourself and it uses a camera to track you. This one, you have a physical GPS that goes in your pocket. So it's a GPS point between the drone and the subject, and it uses that to track. And it doesn't just follow, it does movements and flows it all out to make it entertaining. Right. So I'm excited to put that to work.
What about the quality? Is it...
It's not as good as a DJI, which is really good now, that new one.
Yeah, the camera sensor is so much bigger.
That cost me almost $5,000.
Oh, so much money. I'm so happy I didn't put my money towards that, because then I was so like, I don't think this is the right investment right now.
It's really good, but it is expensive. And then this thing's probably like $3,000.
$3,000.
I mean, it's for Instagram anything, it's fine. Like it's good enough.
Yeah.
It would surprise me. I thought it was going to be worse than it is.
Yeah, cool. I did some investments myself too. I can't think of every single thing off the top of my head, but one thing is that we didn't have this light actually when we started the podcast. This is a different light that I won on a competition with the help of one of your dogs, with Tully. You remember that?
I do.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Dimmable
light. It's actually a pretty good light. And then, so basically I did a competition that a YouTuber did on his YouTube channel. One of my favorite YouTubers, Peter Linger. Shout out to him if he's watching this. That would be awesome.
He'll definitely be watching this 16 minutes in.
He's really cool. But yeah, anyways, I won some lights on a competition he did. So I have new lighting equipment. I have a Sony a7S III, just like you. A Sony a7 IV, which has been the best B camera for the a7S III. Great investment right there.
There's definitely a discussion there, that versus the A7R4, because that thing is a pain in the ass. But maybe another time. This is a lot of gear talk. So what else?
Yeah. What else has been happening?
Didn't you get some sort of housing?
Housing?
I thought you got a water housing.
Oh, yes. I did get a water housing, and I haven't been able to use it. So I had to send it back to them, to Aquatech. I'm still waiting for it, but hopefully that will be a great investment, because I do want to get into surf, filmmaking, photographer, and so on. Atomos Shinoben 7
yes,
monitor for the camera has been a game changer mainly for client work and stuff like that. And those have been the main things, I would say. Other than that, last year was awesome. Living in front of the beach, I got to make a documentary, which I haven't done before. I did a documentary of a fighter, Muay Thai fighter, a Muay Thai future world champ, hopefully. Jasmine Parr, she's awesome. Maybe we could have her as a guest on the podcast.
She'd come on.
Yeah. That will be awesome. Her dad and her family are legends of the Muay Thai world. And I got heavily into MMA, continue to do jiu-jitsu as well. So I'm heavily invested into martial arts. New Year's Eve, what do you do? How's Christmas?
Ooh. Christmas was a family affair, so not much to report there. Nothing of interest. Nice time. New Year's Eve, we just had a thing up near where I live, in the old Balamble Heights.
Yeah.
Maybe 15 people got together, and one of the guys owns a keg company, so he can rig up a bar pretty much. So he set up a full bar full of all sorts of spritzers and beers and ciders, and so there was alcohol on tap, literally, and then just cooked heaps of food and chilled out.
Yeah, nice.
So wasn't the wildest New Year's of my life, but it was something.
Yeah, awesome. Christmas I spent it with my Venezuelan friend Sebastian, which last year I spent it with you and your family. But all the years before I had spent it with him and his family, and it's super cool because it's kind of like a really Venezuelan day kind of thing. We do actually spend it just the way that we will spend it back home, like lots of Venezuelan food. Most people in there are Venezuelan as well. So that was super nice. They have a bunch of kids. So Sebastian has virtually all his family here, and they all have kids. So there's like 8 kids that I've seen growing up in the past years, and it's awesome, like spending that time with them. And then New Year's Eve, my freaking housemate, which should be hearing this because he just got home, he got COVID. He was traveling in the north with Sundays, got COVID, called me like, hey, I need to quarantine. So I had to leave the house, and I just came back a couple days ago. And then I was staying in Brisbane, and at the house I was staying, someone came with COVID. So I've been pretty much just running out of getting the freaking COVID. Any thoughts on that before we close? I think we're almost good to close this.
Are we going to close it?
Oh, I don't know. How long
we just keep going.
Okay.
We do
Let's
big,
keep
long
going.
episodes.
Yeah. Okay. I wasn't sure.
I got a year of shit to unload
All right. I wasn't sure where you wanted to go with the first one. All right.
Yeah, COVID is just a mess at the moment. I'm just over it. I'm over talking about it. I'm over seeing it on the news. I feel like we're all going to get it. It's somewhat inevitable. Stop locking it down, and if you're at risk, stay inside forever.
Never go out.
One of the guys at work tested positive, like literally at work. We've had multiple people go down. The wife works in a hospital, so she's exposed to it all the time. Like, I don't know. What can you do at this stage? Yeah. What can you do?
At this point, it's clear that most people will get it. How are you? I'm very curious about your opinion on the vaccine stuff. Because, for example, the gyms I train in is kind of like people will laugh at you if you've been vaccinated kind of thing.
That's because it's in northern New South Wales and the area itself is...
No, but the other gym I'm training is in Burleigh.
Oh, really?
90% of people there have not been vaccinated, and they always make jokes about it and like, people are getting vaccinated, all this stuff. It's you fucking sheep.
Try and fly to Sydney.
Yeah.
You can't.
Which is not everyone, but most people there, I noticed that they don't support the vaccine thing. Me personally, I did it mostly because of my visa. Like when I was living with you, Beck told me like, hey, you can get the vaccine because you live with me and stuff. I was like, oh, okay, we will probably need this for traveling. So I wasn't excited to get the vaccine.
I don't think anyone was truly excited unless you're at risk and you believed it was going to give you a little bit of protection.
Exactly.
I think the problem is, and this is sort of where I'm at now, like I'm due for my booster and I don't want to get it.
Yes, that's the problem. That's exactly what I was gonna say. Yeah.
If they mandate it, because travel beats everything for me. So if they say you have to get it to travel, boom, I'm going to get it. And the reason I want to like not get it is because I just have sort of a distrust and I've lost faith in the government system, because they're saying let's set these targets and then we'll do this and then we'll do this, but it doesn't seem to be happening. Like we're hitting the vaccine rates that they're talking about, and like what's to say they're going to turn around and say now we're at 45% for booster shots, which and that's just a never-ending cycle. So like I was straight to get it. I was one of the first people to get it because the wife works in healthcare. She's a pharmacist. You can't argue with her about vaccines, which no problem with it. But I think I'm almost taking like a political stance against it because it's got nothing to do with the vaccine. It's got all to do about them telling us what we can and can't do,
exactly.
Which I don't really like. And I feel like the Muay Thai community is probably strong-minded like that. So I'm sure they're not anti-vaxxers, right?
They're pro-choice, right?
Yeah, pro-choice, but like I'm sure they're vaccinated against like the stuff that matters. Like I'm sure they're like hepatitis and all that sort of stuff they're vaccinated.
Yeah, but it's a bit different, and I heard this on a podcast and that made a lot of sense. So they were saying like we can't really call this a vaccine because a vaccine has been proven that will protect you against the illness or the disease itself. But this is not really.
This has been proven to do that.
Yeah, but you can still get COVID out of it. If you get a vaccine for hepatitis, for example, you won't get it, kind of thing. You see where I'm going?
I'm sure if you looked at all the other vaccines, there would be exemptions to that where you get it to a lesser degree.
Maybe. I wouldn't know for sure. But what I'm getting at is I don't like also the booster thing, the booster cycle that you mentioned, because that when is it gonna stop? When will be enough? You know.
Well, I guess it's fine if you have to keep getting boosters because you have to do that with the flu jab. So we got to stop pretending like this is something brand new, because it's kind of brand new in the sense of COVID, but it's still SARS, which is what.
But it's also a vaccine that they haven't tested for enough time to know what are the future repercussions.
But it's not like the actual formulation of the vaccine. I don't want to talk on this like I'm a doctor. I'm a fucking filmmaker.
Give me the facts, Dr. Matty.
But it's not like a brand new way in which they built the vaccine. They know how another vaccine works, so they built the same thing, like the same framework, I guess you'd say, for this one. So it's not like they just came up with this out of their ass in 6 months' time. They had most of it together and they just had to figure it out. But then back on the influenza thing, if you compare it to that, people get that every single year, right? Which is fine if you want to. I never got it because I'm like, I can get influenza. It's not going to kill me.
It might kill you because you have terrible habits, but okay.
Maybe. But again, risk you're willing to take. Like, I think it's got to get to that level. And then I asked a guy if he wanted to come to a shoot in Newcastle, a skater. I'm like, hey, I'll fly you down there. He's like, man, I can't leave. I'm not vaccinated. I'm like, how bullshit is that?
Yeah.
That this dude can't get on a plane and fly 2 hours within his own country just because he's not vaccinated.
Yeah.
At the same time, I'm like, just get a vaccine, you idiot. So it's two minds to it because I don't think there's any problem with the vaccine. I think there's a problem with...
That's because you didn't have any side effects, but there is actually a fair amount of people that has been getting side effects as well.
Yeah, there has been. And there's been people that have been getting killed by COVID.
Yeah. So I feel like you should have the power to decide what you want to do, and that's it. You know, like, hey, we developed the vaccine. We haven't really tested it that long, but we so far the information we have, we know it works to a certain point, kind of thing. It should be up to you.
Well, I think the whole theory behind it, right, was we didn't want to overwhelm the healthcare system. So they said, let's say, I'm making numbers up, if everyone's unvaccinated, a larger percentage of people will go to hospital if it goes through. Even if they get it, less people will go to hospital. So if everyone's vaccinated, a small amount will go to hospital, and that's a number we can actually handle in the healthcare system. But what's happened now is that they've reached the vaccine numbers, but then there's all these rules about close contacts and quarantining and not going to work. And then they don't have adequate testing facilities to clear you to go back to work. So the hospital is losing staff, not because there's too many COVID people in hospital. It's because they can't pass the test to go back to work.
Yeah.
Businesses are closing down. I tried to go down to Kira on the weekend for coffee, and like 2 out of the 3 cafes were closed because they didn't have the staff to open the doors. Yeah. It's like, this has nothing to do with getting sick.
Man, it's bullshit.
It's all bullshit.
And it's really annoying as well because it's dividing a lot of people. Like at some point I was kind of ashamed to say like I got vaccinated, and I just did it because I knew there were going to be some friction in my life if I didn't have it, like in terms of crossing the border, because we live between borders as well here in Australia. And some of the stuff, I was like, I'm sure if you don't have the vaccine in a couple months on, you won't be able to go to a restaurant, you won't be able to do certain things. I was like, I'm just going to, get it. And now that I can as well, and, we'll see what happens. But now the booster thing is like...
just feels like it keeps going. And it's perpetuated by the media, which a good example of this that I keep seeing, I've stopped watching the news pretty much. So I only see the highlights of what's on Facebook. And the Novak Djokovic thing, the tennis player.
Oh, yeah, I kind of skimmed through it.
He's in the news. He's in the news for not being vaccinated. Then he got a pass, and then it got revoked, and then they're going to give it back. And then But the whole thing, like, who gives a shit about a tennis player with a vaccine or not? The whole thing is just the media knowing people are relating to it or just wanting to have an opinion. Everyone's going to have the different opinion.
And keep dividing people. They know that
Keep
title
dividing
will
people,
keep pushing people away.
Keep people in the comment section. Keep people clicking on that link and paying for that ad revenue. Like, it's got nothing to do with the fucking vaccine or to do with the actual sickness.
Yeah, I think that it's just hurting more businesses and people's lives, other than like the sickness itself. Like the fact of you need to have the vaccine, it's mandatory, and then people coming out, no, it shouldn't be this, and then people, no, you should get the vaccine. Like it's just pushing people away, and then making our lives harder in terms of businesses, in terms of getting, making a living, all this stuff. So
they've closed down New Zealand again.
Oh, did they?
I didn't even know.
I didn't know, yeah.
I'm about ready to go to New Zealand. Oh, wait, I can't.
I can't. It's closed.
It's closed. It's like, what is this? It's crazy because this whole thing started, it's almost coming up 2 years. And that's too long to lose out of anything, like to lose out of your life, like your business, whatever. It's a big gap.
Man, I'm so happy that I took a lot of risk like years before COVID happened, and I did travel a lot, because I talk to so much people now, like when they find out, like I've been to maybe Japan, maybe Philippines, Southeast Asia, they're like, oh yeah, I really want to go there.
I wish I could.
And I'm like, oh, where have you been to? And they're like, oh no, I haven't traveled. I'm like, what do you mean you haven't traveled? What do you haven't stepped out? I had all these plans, but then COVID came, and I'm like, oh yeah, COVID, true. But yeah, it
sort of worked well for you in that sense, because you had to go through your whole visa and that sort of stuff.
Yeah. That was a big thing as well.
Well, maybe next episode we'll get into that. It's the opposite for me, because like for the first time in my life, these couple years is when I actually got money. I got time, and then I'm encroaching on a date sometime in the future where I'm going to have kids. So it's like, however big this small amount of years is when I have money and don't have kids, I can go and do all that stuff.
You can't do the stuff that you really want to do.
I can't do all that stuff I should be doing right now, which is disheartening. But
if you could travel right now, where would you go?
I want to go snowboarding in Canada. I think that would be probably the first place I go. I'm going to be traveling. We'll talk about that on the next one too, because that's exciting.
See what happens with that.
Hawaii, Iceland, everywhere. Let's go. South America, Venezuela.
Just to wrap it up, New Year's. Everyone has goals. Everyone starts thinking about the things they want to achieve, do. What's on you for 2022?
I set some goals of going to I want to go to 5 new countries, new ones, and then we'll see where else that goes. I wanted to get my Instagram going again.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I'm stuck on that one.
And then me and Beck set some like renovation goals that we were a bit slack on last year because it was so hard to get tradesmen, but there's stuff we want to do to the house.
All right.
That's pretty much it for me.
Yeah.
What have you got written on your whiteboard in there?
Yeah, that's not my whiteboard. That's
Blackboard?
Thiago's.
Straight on your wall?
Yeah.
What's on there?
I do have some goals. I'm trying not to spread too much this year. I feel like in years before I've been writing too many things kind of thing. And some of them are very small, and I know I will do them kind of thing. I'm focusing in like 3 big ones, I would say, which is continue to be working for myself, then create additional source of income, because I realized like I have been putting a lot of attention to just generating money with videos when I should focus on creating some sort of passive income or additional ways of making money. So those are pretty much the 2 biggest, and then investing. I want to get into investing and make it, like understanding how it works and how to actually make my money work for me. So those are the three biggest ones, I would say. So are more, I would say, financial related. The three biggest goals.
Any relationship goals?
We might talk about that in the next episode. If people don't follow you already, where can they find you?
You'll find me at a guy called Matty. It hasn't had a post in 2021, so yeah, it's a good follow. But one of my goals is to kick that off. Where will they find you?
I'm on IG at Nelfalife. You can follow the podcast at The Good Vibes Theory. And we'd love for you to subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube, leave a review on Apple Podcasts. As you can tell, we're pretty rusty. We haven't done this in over a year, but I'm sure we'll get better. And yeah, we are excited to be back in the game, and hopefully we will be posting consistently.
I'm excited for the burgers that you promised me after this podcast.
Yes, we're having burgers.
And on that note, we'll see you guys on the next one.
Good vibes for everyone.